Ya, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, we are from Group 8 that consists of Faiza, Zahra, Habibah, Sofi Agustriyani, Nabiila Sumpenna P, and me, Ria Siti Mei Saroh. And in this video, we will present the result of our research report on a case study with the title Understanding and Application of Self-Assessment by English Teachers, a Multiple Case Study. This presentation is organized into several main sections. There is introduction, literature review, methodology, case study example, discussion, and the last is conclusion. Okay, so we will move on to the first section on the presentation is introduction. Will present by Nabiila. Nabiila, please.
Thank you, Ria, for the opportunity. The first slide is introduction. Uh, the first point is overview of qualitative research. Qualitative research is a methodological approach that aims to understand social phenomena in their natural context. Data is collected through words, visual, and contextual data sources, resulting in more in-depth results. And then the second point is case study methodology. One form of qualitative research is the case study. According to Yin 2018, case studies allow researchers to delve deeper into specific educational context and generate practical insight. And then the point third is objectives and structure of report. This report focused on teachers' understanding of self-assessment and its application in the classroom. The report structure consists of a literature review, research methodology, findings, and discussion. Next, please. The second slide is literature review. The point one is key points from literature. A case study is a form of qualitative research that uses multiple data sources such as semi-structured interview and observation to explore a phenomenon in depth. And then the second point is relevant theories and concepts. Key concept is discussed include teacher feedback practice, the use of assessment rubrics for greater of self-assessment in the classroom. And then the studies. Several previous studies such as Alec et al. And Jaya et al. 2022 show that teachers recognize the benefits of self-assessment. However, they also face obstacles such as lack of training, difference in understanding among teachers, and inconsistent implementation in daily practice. And then the next material will be delivered by Sophie.
Okay. I'll explain about the methodology of this article. The article we review applies a qualitative approach with a case study method. This method was chosen because it allows researchers to explore teachers' understanding and classroom practice in greater depth, especially in relation to self-assessment. The study involved 5 English teachers from elementary school, junior high school, and senior high school. They were selected through purposive sampling so that the research could represent different teaching levels and experiences. For data collection, the researchers used 2 main techniques. The first was semi-structured interview, which gave teachers the chance to explain their views and experiences in detail. The second was classroom observation using a checklist to capture how self-assessment was actually carried out in practice. The data were then analyzed using thematic analysis, which include transcription, coding, and grouping into main themes. Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay, for the example. One concrete example presented in the article is the case of Miss Yin, an English teacher. She used a simple rubric to guide her students in self-assessment, encouraged reflection, and provided feedback throughout the learning process. The findings show that all teachers had a positive view of self-assessment, although their practices varied. Some focused more on rubrics, others emphasized reflection, while some integrated discussion, journals, or online tools. From classroom observations, the average score was 4 out of 5, which indicates that self-assessment was fairly well integrated, but still not fully optimized. Its effectiveness was influenced by factors such as students' age, teachers' experience, and the frequency of publication. Overall, this study highlights the potential to self-assessment to support student learning, while also showing the challenges teachers face in applying it consistent. That's all, and the next slide will be delivered by
All right. Now let's talk about the discussion of this case study. First, the interpretation at the elementary level. Teachers mostly give clear instructions and use simple rubric. But in junior and high school, teachers focus more on reflection and discussion. From this, we can see that self-assessment needs to be adapted to the age and learning needs of the students. And next, the implication for qualitative research. This study gives us a real picture of how teachers actually use self-assessment in their classrooms. It also shows that qualitative methods are powerful because they can capture the classroom context and dynamics that quantitative can't explain. So self-assessment is not just a theory; it's a rich practical practice shaped by context. And finally, the strengths and limitation of the case study method. The strength is that it gives us a practical example and reveals the real complexity of learning. It's also flexible because we can combine the data from different sources like interview, observation, and documents. But there are some limitations too. The findings are hard to generalize since the sample is small. Researchers' subjectivity might influence the interpretation. It takes a lot of time, and sometimes the results are too tied to one specific context, making them hard to apply in another setting. That's all. I give back to Ria.
Okay, thank you, Faiza. Next, for the conclusion for our report is the studies show that English teachers in East Jakarta generally have a positive understanding of self-assessment or SA, although their application vary, such as using rubrics, reflection, and discussion online tools, and journals. As a contribution, this case study highlights how different classroom contexts shape teacher practice and provides rich qualitative insight into the implementation of self-assessment in English teaching. For the future research, it is recommended to examine the long-term impact of SA or self-assessment on student achievement, expand the student to school with more diverse backgrounds, and provide systematic training and scaffolding so that self-assessment can be implemented more consistently and meaningfully. Okay, that's all for our group presentation. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.